Welcome to TPM Vid's Disney Beat, where we talk about all things Disney. If you're new to the channel and like what you see, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video. You can also find us on all your favorite social media platforms. One thing that always sets Disney apart from the rest is their use of audio animatronics. At this point, hundreds, if not thousands of animatronics have appeared all over the Disney parks. But unfortunately, not all of them stick around forever. There are a lot of rare, less commonly talked about animatronics, and some were so pivotal to the development of audio animatronic technology. So sit back as we count down 7 forgotten and extinct Disney animatronics. Number 7. Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room was the first attraction to feature the audio animatronic technology. But when the attraction opened in 1963, chances are your first encounter with an audio animatronic wasn't inside at all. Perched above the attraction's entrance was Juan the Barker Bird, a talkative little parrot designed to draw guests into the Tiki Room.
How do you do down there? Hello, Hurry to Tiki Room. Tikis make drum go boom. Magic is happening. All the birds and flowers sing. Better come see this thing.
Juan really had all the charisma of a true carnival barker. Now you might have already noticed that there are 2 different birds. One is blue and one is red. They were used interchangeably and apparently both were supposed to be Juan. I'm not sure how that works, but it's Disneyland, so anything's possible. He delivered snappy lines and humorous banter, but Juan became a little too popular. Guests would stop in their tracks to watch him, causing bottlenecks in Adventureland. I mean, the pathways are already tight as it is. Despite his charm, Juan was quietly removed just a few years later to help with crowd control. But his influence didn't end there. Fast forward to 1973 at Walt Disney World, where Juan's legacy lived on, this time with a pirate twist. Outside the newly opened Pirates of the Caribbean, guests were greeted by a green Barker bird, who fans later ended up calling Peg Leg Pete. Perched on a platform above what was then the side entrance to the ride, the green parrot sported a pirate hat, eye patch, and of course a wooden peg leg.
Try to force through the arches, mateys. It'd be a short march through the old fortress. Past the dungeons, the pirates' hold.
He'd humorously squawk at guests, inviting them into the ride, and he even belted his own verses of A Pirate's Life for Me.
Yo ho, a parrot's life for me. A parrot's life for me.
Just like Juan, the animatronic was simple yet effective, with a distinct personality of his own. He remained a beloved part of the attraction until 2006. He was removed during the major refurbishment that added characters from the Pirates film. Peg Leg Pete was then temporarily relocated to the World of Disney store in downtown Disney, where he spent a couple more years squawking away. It may be almost 20 years since Peg Leg Pete flew the coop at Magic Kingdom, but he's gonna be making a comeback. In 2023, Disney announced the Barker Bird would return as part of the new Pirates-themed tavern coming to Adventureland. Today, the red version of Juan and Peg Leg Pete are both in the hands of the Disney Archives, and they have been on display numerous times throughout the years. This just proves that even the smallest animatronics can form a legacy in the Disney theme parks. Number 6. One of the most short-lived attractions at Animal Kingdom has to be the Discovery Riverboats. It was an opening day attraction in 1998. It wasn't anything too exciting, but it took guests on a relaxing tour around Discovery River as you got to preview what each land had to offer. There were a couple show scenes, but one of the major highlights was getting to see Allar the Iguanadon along the riverbank.
And don't worry too much, he's a big guy with a big appetite, but he's strictly vegetarian. Like he's waving to you guys there now.
For an animatronic submerged in the water, Allar was pretty impressive. It also enhanced the Discovery Riverboats, connecting it with the storyline of Dinosaur, which was then called Countdown to Extinction. I mean, now that he's rescued, look at how much fun he's having splashing in the water. Now, initially, the Discovery Riverboats were meant to be treated more like a transportation system. Since it was only one of 4 rides in the park, it had a lot to live up to, and unfortunately, it fell short. By late 1999, the riverboats were permanently closed and Allar vanished shortly after. But it wasn't the last time we would see him. When the Walt Disney Studios Park at Disneyland Paris opened in 2002, Imagineers needed to source unique props for the backlot tour boneyard, and guess who showed up? Allar. Well, a completely skinned Allar. What was once an impressive audio animatronic was sent from Orlando to Paris to just rot away outside. It's kind of weird seeing him as just an outer shell. Over the years, he was repositioned, but sometime around 2013, Allar was completely removed, and since he's never shown up again, he was probably just sent for scrap metal. It's a real shame that an animatronic of this size spent so little time in its prime, but at least Allar was given somewhat of a second life. Number 5. When Innoventions opened at Epcot in 1994, it was a hands-on experience that featured the latest displays of technology. One of the pavilions you could find inside was called Eclectronics, and among the exhibits stood Allectronic, a charismatic audio animatronic who entertained guests with his musical performances and witty banter. Oh, and you can't forget the animatronic heads who provided the backup vocals.
My name is Jerry. I slip and fall. Pillows and mattresses line my wall.
With all the inner workings and mechanical components visible, this was such a unique way to present an animatronic. It wasn't every day that guests got the opportunity to see how these figures worked up close, so it was pretty fascinating.
But I really hope you enjoyed the show. And I hope you've enjoyed your stay here at
It was a very quirky display, but before Alec made his way into Innoventions, the animatronic was actually developed back in 1989. It was originally an Imagineering showpiece to demonstrate the new A100 technology. The Wicked Witch from the Great Movie Ride is always credited as being the first A100 animatronic, but really it was Allectronic. They had him programmed to sing and dance, showcasing the enhanced fluidity and broad range of motion in these new animatronic figures. So featuring him as an exhibit in Epcot just made sense. Now, Allectronic was a state-of-the-art animatronic, but his time in the spotlight was relatively short-lived. During a refurb of Innoventions for Disney's Millennium Celebration, he was officially removed in early 1998, but Imagineers had other plans in mind. They recognized the figure's potential, and after a little facelift and some reprogramming, in July of 1998, Allectronic was recycled into Tom Morrow, the host of Disneyland's Innoventions. Voiced by the iconic Nathan Lane, his humor poured right out of Tom Morrow as he welcomed guests and introduced them to the exhibits.
It's all here. You're gonna love it. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave now. I'm expecting company to arrive at any moment, so if you'll excuse me, I have to clean up this house. There's a great big beautiful tomorrow headed right this way.
Now, the animatronic frame wasn't the only thing Imagineers recycled. Since the project had a relatively quick turnaround, they also recycled the Timekeeper's face mold and turned him into Tom Morrow. Well, after years of service, Tom Morrow was eventually retired in 2012, and Innoventions at Disneyland closed altogether in 2015. Although animatronic technology has advanced quite a bit, these early A100 figures have really stood the test of time. Honestly, they're sometimes a bit more impressive than the A1000 figures we have today. What began as just a prototype, Allectronic had a rich 22-year run and will forever mark a major milestone in audio animatronic history. Number 4. Disney has created some massive animatronics over the years, but few have had as strange of a role than this next figure. So back in November of 1993, this sci-fi musical fever dream opened at Epcot called Splashtacular. The show was performed in front of the Fountain of Nations and featured Mickey battling the evil alien queen who wanted to steal color and creativity from Earth. It was definitely part of the weird side of Epcot, complete with a giant villainous animatronic dinosaur named Pterosaurus. This animatronic was massive, towering 65 feet, but it only had 8 functions of movement. It did rise up on a hydraulic lift, but instead of relying on computers, this animatronic was actually controlled by 2 live puppeteers. His arrival marked the dramatic climax of the show since he was summoned by the evil alien queen. Once Mickey called his guards, it quickly became an epic battle between good versus evil.
Mickey, it looks like it's up to us!
Once Mickey uses the exterminator, the dino was defeated and Mickey saves the day. It's literally just the plot of Fantasmic. Anyway, even with its big, bold visuals, Splashtacular didn't last that long. Apparently, the show was difficult to maintain and it just wasn't as popular as they hoped. Splashtacular closed in June of 1994, just 7 months after opening. Now, we know Disney doesn't like to waste a good animatronic, especially something this large, right? So in August of 1995, Galaxy Search opened in Tomorrowland's Galaxy Palace Theater, and after a little makeover, Pterosaurus re-emerged as the King. With a brand new head and upper jaw sculpt, complete with shades and a coiffed hairdo, this giant animatronic was completely transformed into an alien Elvis impersonator. The premise of the show was this wacky space-themed talent competition featuring a variety of acts from all of our favorite Disney pals. The King made his appearance during Goofy's musical number and growled his way through some quick one-liners. He even had quite the voice himself. You may have already noticed this, but in addition to the animatronic, a lot of the costumes from Splashtacular were also recycled. The show ran until 1998, and I have so many vivid memories seeing Galaxy Search during Magic Kingdom's 25th anniversary. Now, although the King disappeared from the theater, the animatronic was actually left rotting backstage until around 2011 to 2012, and since then, he's never been seen again. Number 3. This next animatronic brought some serious fire and fury to the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management. Making its debut in April of 1998, the show added Iago from Aladdin and Zazu from The Lion King as the new managers of the Tiki Room. Only things didn't go as planned for them, especially when they woke up Aoa, the Tiki goddess of disaster. Compared to the animatronic birds in the show, Aoa was massive and really lived up to being an angry tiki goddess. She warned Iago about disrespecting the tiki gods, then zapped him with lightning, sending him up in flames. This is very ironic considering what happens a little later on. Although the audio animatronic didn't have as many articulated functions as other figures, Aoa was still very impressive and was definitely the best part of this new show.
You can't fly away, now you're stuck. I have trust you, what was in your luck.
She brought a whole new level of spectacle into the Tiki Room, but despite her dramatic flair, this version of the attraction was never well received by fans. It always felt like a very disjointed effort of merging the old and new with horrendous covers of pop songs. Well, after 13 years of Aoa sending Iago up in flames, in January of 2011, the show suffered a real fire and Disney quietly retired the overlay. When the Tiki Room reopened later that year, the attraction was restored to its original version, and just like that, Aoa was gone. Thankfully, she wasn't damaged in the fire, which did allow her to reappear. In 2015, she made her grand return in Trader Sam's at the Polynesian, where you can still participate in her chant from the show. Although she's now just a prop and no longer moves, Aoa lives on as a nod to one of the more fiery chapters in the Tiki Room history. Number 2. In October of 1995, Epcot's Innoventions added the Communications Dreamform sponsored by Motorola. And the first thing guests saw was the pavilion's ambassador, Sky Cyberguy. This state-of-the-art A100 audio animatronic had 30 individual functions and performed 16 minutes of show dialogue.
Hey, I'm your host, Sky Cyberguy, here to guide you through a veritable interactive wonderland of infotainment possibilities known as your show.
As the host, Sky Cyberguy was unique in that guests could control what they wanted to see on the screen. There were many different scenarios, but he'd give 3 different options to choose from.
You want to see A, a bunch of long-haired yahoos doing a really cool rock and roll thing.
Like the other animatronic hosts, he had a very witty personality. Well, in October of 1999, Disney kicked off their Millennium Celebration and introduced Innoventions The Road to Tomorrow. A lot of the exhibits were updated, and that's when Sky Cyberguy received a fresh metallic paint job, a headset, and re-emerged as Starnak. With all new animation, Starnak now looked into the future of technology and invited guests to explore the reimagined pavilion.
More about that in the future, because right now I'd like to welcome you to the Dream Forum, the place where Motorola shows friends like you how they dream forum.
He was in Innoventions until the Dreamform closed for good in May of 2003. But Starnak's journey didn't end there. In 2012, a Disney Research Lab demonstration hit YouTube showing a now stripped Starnak back in action. This time he was being used to develop a way for humanoid animatronics to catch and toss a ball with eye-tracking precision technology. When it comes to more sophisticated animatronics like this, Disney tends to save them for parts or other purposes. But this specific animatronic played another pivotal role in Disney's animatronic history. So Disney's A100 figure was developed in collaboration with another robotics company called Sarcos. They helped Disney produce the compliance technology. This controls the animatronic's movement, allowing for smoother and overall more realistic movement. This technology was proprietary to Disney, or at least it was supposed to be. Well, how the story goes is that back in 1995, Motorola supplied Disney with the animatronic for the pavilion. It turned out Sky Cyberguy was having some issues, so Motorola had Disney's maintenance team look after the figure. It was during this maintenance that Disney discovered the animatronic used the proprietary A100 technology when it shouldn't have. This should have been a Sarcos exclusive figure. It turned out they were selling these A100 figures on the open market. Everything was a one-to-one copy using Disney's proprietary designs. A cease and desist order was quickly filed against Sarcos, and since then, they never worked with Disney again. Number 1. Closing off the list is an animatronic that was once part of one of Disney's boldest storylines, and that's Little Red, the baby elephant from Kilimanjaro Safaris. When Animal Kingdom opened in 1998, Kilimanjaro Safaris had a full-on story. Warden Wilson Mutua set up the Harambe Wildlife Reserve to preserve the animal's natural habitats.
Even the borders of Harambe cannot protect our animals from the most dangerous threat of all, poaching.
Then on the ride, guests were part of a mission to stop poachers who had captured a mother and her baby elephant, Little Red. The warden would occasionally check in with your vehicle to give the driver updates.
I see you down there. You are in bush country. Drive carefully. I don't want you bumping into my animals.
You'd hear traditional African folk music. And the attraction would end in a chase trying to escape the poachers and save Little Red.
Shoot me, fly! Oh, look at the back of that truck. That's Little Red.
Although this wasn't a sophisticated animatronic, the baby elephant appeared in the back of the poacher's truck, moving its head from side to side. Well, this whole storyline hung on for a while, but in 2012, Disney officially removed the poaching plot altogether. As for Little Red, well, she was taken off the safari and placed backstage by the cast services building at Animal Kingdom. During the reimagining of the Jungle Cruise in 2021, it was rumored that the elephant at the end of the ride was a recycled Little Red. It kind of made sense since she was removed from backstage around 2020, but the ears on the Jungle Cruise elephant are much smaller, so people always had doubts. Well, in December of 2024, a cast member shared these photos on Threads, which revealed that Little Red now had a home inside Cast Connections. It's a cast-exclusive surplus store at Walt Disney World. So while Little Red's story may have ended on the safari for guests, her legacy still quietly lives on backstage for all the cast members. So what's your favorite extinct Disney animatronic? I'd love to know. Leave a comment down below to start a conversation, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video.